back to the Notary Podcast hosted by me, Daniel C. Lewis. So glad to see you back this week. And this week we have a great subject. In fact, I'm very confident that this subject's going to really resonate with you, if you know what I mean. Before we even get to that subject, I want you to make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. We do this for you, and we really enjoy seeing you back each and every week. This week, we're going to talk about a couple of things, but before we even get to that, I want to share a book that I've recently read that is actually really close to the subject matter that we'll be talking about. It's by Charles Pippin, and this is a book that I'm going to recommend that you read, because when we have notary meetups, notary one-on-ones, notary coaching sessions, whenever I do that, this subject always comes up. And the subject is about self-confidence. So that's why I wanted to highly recommend this book, Self-Confidence, A Philosophy by Charles Pippin. It's a great book if you're trying to develop that self-confidence to start your own business, to do it part-time, sometimes full-time, or whatever, just to get in there and start your business. A lot of times, notary entrepreneurs, they run into that confidence issue. They have a confidence problem, whether they're not confident to go out and talk with people or network or do the social media. That's what this subject is about today, building self-confidence. And that's why I wanted to promote this book, Self-Confidence, A Philosophy. It's written by Charles Pippin. And just to give you an insert, just to give you some idea of what the book is about, I'll tell you what some of the chapters are about, just to give you an idea. Cultivating strong ties, confidence through relationships, going into training, confidence through practice, listening to yourself, training your intuition, exposing yourself to wonder, helping you decide, confidence in the midst of doubt, getting your hands dirty. And I know that's something that notaries sometimes have a hard time, especially when they're coming from corporate America right into a notary entrepreneurship. Just going in, a lot of times there's a phrase that I've heard business people use, paralysis by analysis, whereas notaries are constantly, they want to analyze, how do I sign these documents? How do I notarize these documents? There's a lot of great material out there that your state provides, and a lot of educational providers like myself provides, and sometimes people just get paralysis by all the analysis of all the information. And what you have to do is just build that self-confidence in yourself to go out and do it. That's why I want to recommend this book, Self-Confidence, A Philosophy by Charles Pippin. You can find it probably on Amazon or at your local library. So make sure you get that book, especially if you're brand new or you're looking at, are you a notary that seasoned, but the business somehow is hit its peak and you don't know exactly where to go with that, because it could be a confidence issue. And today's topic is developing and building self-confidence. And I've taken a lot of notes and I've studied this with people that are starting the business. And a lot of times it's just a confidence issue. You know how to notarize, you know how to check the IDs, you know what the best practices are, but it's just the self-confidence to get out there, talk to escrow officers, go out there and talk to social workers. So it's a confidence issue a lot of times. So, and I don't want to make light of this issue, because when I started, I had a little bit of a confidence issue, but I slowly overcame that because I had a family, a wife, kids, now grandkids, and they kind of have a bad habit of wanting to eat every day. So I had to try to work to overcome my self-confidence, or building that self-confidence in order to provide for them. So I'm going to give you about, let's say, I've written down here 10 things you can do to really build your self-confidence as a notary entrepreneur. Because being a notary entrepreneur can be challenging and exciting as well. Whether you're just starting out or looking to expand your notary business, self-confidence is a critical component to your success, and you need to develop that. So I'm going to give you 10 ways that you can build your self-confidence. First, embrace continuous learning. What that means is definitely make sure you know what your state guidelines are. You become an expert at what your state guidelines are, what best practices are. The National Notary Association has a lot of material about best practices, like using a journal. In Indiana, a journal is not required. But however, whenever I've gone to court with notaries that have gotten a summons, the first thing they ask for when they go to court, let me see your journal. So knowing what the best practices are is so important. So continuously learning. In fact, in our state, we have to have in order to do real estate assignments, you have to have what is called a title producer's license, our state and Maryland. And with that license, it's a requirement to go through continuing education every 2 years. So if your state doesn't require it, or if your state does require it, I highly recommend embrace continuing education in your state or in your local area. So that's the first thing. That will help you build your self-confidence, because now you know exactly what you're supposed to do. And if you ever get challenged with that, I always recommend people take their state notary handbook with them in their notary bag. So if you ever get challenged, instead of saying it'd be you against them, it could be, hey, here's the state handbook. This is what I have to do. That really helps you build your self-confidence when you're going out there and doing different assignments. So that's the first thing. Embrace continuous learning and education. That's the first thing to build your self-confidence. The second thing is to set clear goals and then celebrate your achievements. When I started my notary business, my goal was I just wanted to be able to pay my mortgage at the end of the month with what I was doing. That's all I wanted to do. I wanted to pay my mortgage. Then that became my next goal. After that became consistent, I want to be able to pay my mortgage within 3 weeks of assignments. And then when that became really good, okay, now I want to be able to pay my mortgage. It went all the way down to I want to be able to pay my mortgage on just 1 week of an assignment, of notary assignments. And when that became, okay, let's do it. Let's see if we can get my mortgage paid. If I can pay my mortgage, if I had 2 or 3 days of assignments, I can pay my mortgage. That was just one of my goals. You can have different goals. And then that became, well, I want to take my kids to this amusement park. I want to take my family on this vacation. How many assignments do I need to do to take my family on the vacation I want? Now that all my expenses are being paid, how many assignments do I need to do to take my family on that? And as you can see, I'm setting my goals and I celebrate my achievements, if that makes sense. So first, embrace continuing education, continuing learning, and then setting goals and celebrate achievements. That's the second thing. The third thing is practice self-reflection. What I mean by that is that once I set my goals and I'm doing my continuing education, I will look back at how can I fine-tune my business? What do I need to do to fine-tune my business? I'm thinking about my business a little bit deeper now. How can I fine-tune my business to be more efficient and more effective? So I'm looking at self-reflection. Not only that, I'm looking at how can I do more balancing of my business? My business is over here. I'm doing well on my business, but how can I now make sure I have family time for myself, and then maybe add some my time for just myself, not just my family, but for myself. That's what I do as far as self-reflection. What can I do better to better make my business run more efficiently, effectively? What can I do better to have a better relationship with my family? What can I do better to give myself some time to recuperate and be more effective in both those fields? So self-reflection is the third thing. The fourth thing, and this is so important for every notary, whether you're a novice or a sophomore in doing this, or you're a senior, or you are somebody who's been doing this for years. The fourth thing is so important. This is number 4, networking. Network with others. Network with your peers. A lot of times notaries think, I'm here by myself, I don't talk to anybody. But it's important for you to network with other notaries. Every month I do an in-person meetup, and we're going to be starting online meetups so that people all across the country can join that meetup. Network with other notaries. That's how I got my business started, networking with other notaries. When those other notaries had business that they couldn't take because they had other obligations, they would network and say, well, hey, I know another notary that's professional, that shows up at these meetups, that are always about continuing education, and they would recommend me or somebody else to that assignment. That does so much for your business, and I can't just express that enough. I always recommend other people to, if I'm busy or if I can't find a notary in that area, I will always recommend other notaries, other professional notaries that come to networking events. Building a network of fellow notary professionals, and I wrote this down, provides a support system where you can share experiences, gain insights, and receive constructive feedback. So important to your business. Engaging with peers help you realize you're not alone in challenges. Learning from others' successes and failures can provide you with new strategies and perspectives, boosting your confidence in handling similar situations. You can learn from other notaries on mistakes they may have made or may have been perceived to make. You can learn from those mistakes, and that will help you build your self-confidence. So networking is a big thing in order for you to build your self-confidence. Number 5, which is another, all of these are important. Number 5, I really resonate with me. Number 5, developing a positive mindset. Developing that positive mindset, and it takes work. It's like a muscle you have to build. Developing a positive mindset. One of the ways I develop a positive mindset, every morning I get up and I just think before my feet hit the ground what I'm grateful for. Every night before I go to bed, I think, what am I grateful for? I always think about all the things that I'm grateful for: my health, my family, my business, the people that care about me, friends, relatives. I always think about what am I grateful for? That keeps me in the best mindset. I've talked to other people that says, I don't know if you ever talk to anybody that always says, this is wrong with my life, that's wrong with my life, this is wrong with my life. And by the time you leave them, you're like, oh man, I'm stressed. Man, my life is terrible. Always think about what you're grateful for. Think about that before you go to bed. Think about that when you get up. Your mindset plays a significant role in how confident you feel. Cultivating a positive attitude by focusing on what you can control and letting go of what you can't. Using affirmations and positive self-talk to reinforce your belief in your abilities. Instead of dwelling on failures, view them as learning opportunities. Even before I start the podcast, I'm thinking of, I always take a deep breath in and then out, and I'm thinking about positive coming in, negative going out. That's just one exercise I do. Positive coming in, negative going out. So work on developing a positive mindset. Number 6, this is the sixth one, and this is something that really helped me over the years in different situations. Invest in a professional appearance. Make sure you're looking your best. When you're going out there, take a minute to look over your appearance. Make sure everything is where it needs to be. Recently, just to give you an example, I like to go to conferences, and when I go to conferences, there's always a banquet or some type of black tie event. I want to make sure I'm dressed appropriately for that black tie event. The first time, and I'm being very honest and real with you, the first time I've ever gone to any professional conferences, I was not prepared for the black tie event. I went and I had khakis, a khaki shirt, khaki pants on, and just loafers. And I went in there and everybody was dressed to the T, black tie, gowns. And I was like, that's never happening to me again. So every time I go to conferences, I make sure I look at the dress code and I'm dressing in the proper attire, making sure, because I am a professional, and sometimes when you go to conferences, that's just one of the things that you do. And even when you go in and doing your notary job, you're talking to a lot of people, and this is the biggest financial decisions they're making when they're buying houses, businesses, cars, and such. You want to dress in a semi-professional manner, making sure that you're meeting the needs of your client. So make sure and that makes you feel so much better. How you present yourself can significantly impact your self-confidence. Invest in professional attire that makes you feel good about yourself. Several times while I have my signing business, my scheduling business, and I used to schedule notaries out to different locations, to banks especially. If I scheduled like a woman out to a bank and she had shoes that had open toe shoes, I always got feedback from the bankers. Hey, you can't have a person come in here with open toe shoes, closing our loans. They would be dressed nice, but just the fact that they had open toe shoes. So make sure you dress appropriately for the different assignments. That's all I want to say about that. Number 7, seek feedback and learn from it. Seek feedback from people that you respect. And sometimes you can get feedback from people you don't respect, and it kind of gives you that learning experience that we all need. Always seek feedback from people that you respect and people that you want to emulate, if that makes sense. So if you have a mentor, always seek feedback from them. Constructive feedback is invaluable for growth. It's always going to be invaluable for growth. Don't shy away from asking clients or colleagues for feedback on your services. I always ask, whenever I get a brand new client, I always ask for feedback. Hey, how did you hear about me? What type of services are you interested in? How can I improve your business? How can I, and this is one question I always ask, how can I make your life less stressful? I always ask that question. So always seek feedback from your client. And it also puts you in that position of being a professional with your client. So always seek feedback. Number 8, stay organized and be prepared. Being prepared is always a great way to build self-confidence. Preparing for your assignments, making sure you're staying organized and well prepared for your appointments and tasks reduces anxiety and helps you approach your work with confidence. It really does. If you're prepared, making sure you have the pens, your notary stamps, your journals, your making sure you know how to get from point A to point B, and it depends on sometimes the time of day of what traffic is like. So always being prepared. On my phone, I have traffic apps, I have weather apps, I have MapQuest, So I'll be prepared that way. And I'm always writing down when my appointments are. And I always try to estimate, okay, if it's this time of day and it's on the other side of town, what the traffic's going to be like. Is there going to be a wreck? Always, if there's a wreck, then I know I have to go earlier. And I always anticipate that it's going to be, I want to be at the location of the signing at least 15, 20 minutes early. That's on time. Going to the assignment at the time of the assignment is actually considered late. So always be prepared and organized when you're doing notary assignments. That will really help you build your confidence, and it really keeps you in that zone. Number 9, very important, and I know the seasoned people are going to love number 9. Understand your value. Understand the value you bring to the table as a notary entrepreneur. If you're scanning documents for somebody, if you're printing documents out, if you're a carrier from this place to that place, and then you have to carrier it back to the FedEx, understanding how you have to protect the documents, and then you have to put things in place to protect documents that you notarize. And even in your journal, we're using a privacy guard to protect people's personal information. Understanding your value is key. Recognizing the importance of the services you provide as a notary, you play a vital role in facilitating legal processes and providing peace of mind to your clients. Understanding the value you can bring to the table reinforces your sense of purpose and confidence at work. It really builds your confidence if you understand your value and you're not undervaluing your service when you're setting your fees. So understand your value. Number 10, and number 10 could be the most important of all of these. Taking care of your well-being. You are your biggest asset in your business. You are the biggest asset in your business, and you must take care of your well-being. What I call, and this is what I call, and you probably heard this from other business coaches, take your meds. That's meditation every day, just getting up, being grateful, deep breathing in positive, breathing out negative thoughts, exercising every day, doing a 20-minute walk, maybe going to the gym, doing some light workouts, doing a cardio, joining a swim class. So exercising. Diet. Make sure you have a very well-rounded diet. You're not just eating a bunch of fast foods. I've done that, and I felt awful. I talked about this on other podcasts where my day would start at about 5:30, print out documents, go to Mr. McDonald's, then I go do some closings, then I go to Mr. Taco Bell for lunch, then I do some closings, then I go to Mr. Pizza Hut, then I do some closings, then I go to Mr. Taco Bell to round out the whole evening, and I just felt like crap. So make sure you take a well-rounded diet. And then with meds, the S is for sleep. Make sure you get plenty of sleep. I've heard some business people talk about, and some inspirational speakers say, oh, you don't need a whole lot of sleep, just 3 or 4 hours. I don't recommend that. I recommend getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. This helps you reset yourself, helps your whole body just recharge itself, and you'll be much more effective, much more efficient, and much more productive. So make sure you are taking your meds, meditation, exercise, diet, and sleep. Now, in conclusion, building self-confidence as a notary entrepreneur is a continuous process that involves learning, self-reflection, and personal growth. By embracing these strategies, and these strategies are, once again, embracing continuous education and learning, setting clear goals and celebrating achievements, practice self-reflection, networking with others, going to meetups, and in person, both on Zoom, developing a positive mindset, invest in your professional appearance, seeking feedback and learning from it, staying organized and prepared for each and every assignment, understanding your value, take care of your well-being. By embracing these strategies, you can strengthen your self-belief, approach your business with conviction, and ultimately achieve greater success. Remember, confidence is not about knowing everything. Confidence is not about knowing everything. It's about believing that you can handle whatever comes your way. Keep growing, keep learning, and trust in your journey in being a notary entrepreneur. I hope you enjoyed this podcast today, and I can't wait to see you at the next podcast. We're going to have a very special guest on the next podcast. We already got her booked. She's going to blow your mind. Please like and share this podcast, and please subscribe to this podcast. We love doing this every week for you, and we hope to see you next week because we've got a very special guest next week on this podcast. See you soon. Have a great day.